Good evening and best greeting to our subscribers. Today I would like to tell about the Russian corporate tax and about the royalties for the owner of the Russian limited liability companies. So who must pay the Russian corporate tax? First of all, Russian corporate tax are applicable to income and profits earned in Russia, although the Russian corporate tax rates vary depending on the business type and taxpayer status, whether as a resident or non-resident company. Certain Russian withholding taxes are also exempt in certain situations under the Russian tax system. As a rule, foreign companies that are established a permanent entity and earn profits from Russian sources are liable to pay flat 20% on Russian corporate tax on earnings. Non-residents are also subject to Russian withholding tax at a rate of 10 to 20%, depending on the type of income and the methods used to calculate the corporation tax liabilities. If you are doing some business in Russia, please be informed about the basic of corporate taxes in Russia under the tax Russian code and about the varying Russian corporate tax rates depending on the type of business structures. So, who must pay Russian corporate tax? First of all, both local and foreign companies are subject to the same Russian corporate tax rate. However, foreign companies only pay Russian taxes if they have a permanent organization or administrative board and earn profits from Russian sources. Domestic Russian companies are taxed in Russia on their worldwide earnings, and each institution as a group was taxed separately. Now a few words about Russian withholding tax and corporate tax rates. Foreign organizations with permanent enterprises in Russia, including branches or some agencies, are liable to pay a Russian corporate tax on any income made in the country. Currently, corporate tax in Russia is set at about 20%, in which 2% goes to the government and 80% to the regional establishments. Also, companies are subject to a capital profit tax at 20%. Companies in Russia are charged other withholding taxes as a section of the corporate tax. Russian companies, for example, pay 9% tax of dividends and 50% when they are received by international companies. Companies operating in a country which has no tax treaty signed with Russia are also taxed at 20% on royalties and interests. Companies with income of around $500,000 are subject of 30% social contribution tax. If the profit exceeds this amount, they pay 10% more. Other Russian corporate tax rates applied to usual business. Withholding tax for non-residents is 20%. Dividends from Russian units obtained by non-residents from 15% to also 20% and even more. Income related to international transport income, 10%. Dividends from both local and international legal entities obtained by Russian legal units, 9%. This part is included in 20% of standard common tax. If you got some questions about taxes or you preparing to provide some business in Russia, I strongly advise you to find some tax consultants because it saves you a lot of nerves and money, because Russian tax system is changed very rapidly, and there are a lot of new statements, new items. They are issuing practically every month. I think my advice can help you. Thank you for your attention.